NFL edition. Woo, baby.
That's what's up.
NFL
Ye-
edition. Kill the clock. Oh, I'm so excited. We're a little late, 2 weeks late to be exact, but we're going to cover all of the NFL action over the past 2 weeks. We're going to go over divisions, who we liked, who we didn't like. We're going to go over this domestic violence mess. Joining me today are Harry. What's up, Harry?
How's it going?
And Harsimran. How's it going?
Good, good. How about you?
How you guys doing? What do you guys think of Roger Goodell?
I think he's had a little bit of a rough week, or 2 weeks now. I think it's been. First, you hear about the Ray Rice video being released last Monday, and the hell that breaks loose from there, and then now the Adrian Peterson stuff that broke, over the last weekend, and that's been crazy. And there's been a lot of back and forth. A lot of people have talked about it, and Goodell must not be too happy with the state of the NFL, and a lot of sponsors, NFL sponsors, that is. Multi-billion-dollar corporations are starting to reach out to the NFL, make public statements in which they are voicing their displeasure with what's been happening the last couple of weeks. So to say that this has been a week of hell is, I would say, an understatement for Roger Goodell.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. I think if you really look at it, Roger Goodell has made a number of incorrect moves that have, just kind of added up. He clearly mishandled the Ray Rice situation, whether he saw the video or not. If he did, then he tried to cover it up. If he didn't, then it's just such a poorly run investigation. We all knew what happened in that elevator even without seeing the video. We knew 2 games wasn't enough, and you see the news today, the NFLPA actually filed an appeal to have Ray Rice reinstated after his 2-game suspension. His original 2-game suspension, because Roger Goodell in his CBS interview mentioned that Ray Rice was not indefinitely suspended because he lied to the NFL, but because that video came to light and new facts and reassessed the situation, which basically went against the CBA for double punishment. So basically, Roger Goodell really screwed up that situation, and he's going to allow for Ray Rice to be reinstated. I don't see any way around that. But I don't see any team picking up Ray Rice at the same time.
Which team would be most likely to pick up Ray Rice? I don't think any team would, but I wouldn't put it past, honestly, the Patriots.
I mean, honestly, this is all speculation, but I don't see how it happens. We look out and we saw the news today how these big corporations, Anheuser-Busch, yesterday, Radisson suspended their sponsorship of the Vikings. CoverGirl, which is also a sponsor of the NFL, is looking into it. There's just too many. It'd be any team that would sign Ray Rice would lose so many sponsors. This Adrian Peterson situation, you saw these sponsors pulling away. It really hurts the Vikings. They had to backtrack on their original decision, partly because they don't even have their own stadium right now. They're renting University of Minnesota Stadium for this year. So, these sponsors, these big-name entities that the NFL relies on are going back on sponsorships and stuff like that, and no team's going to take that risk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't see any team picking him up. I don't see him playing in the NFL again. I only give the Patriots a 1% chance because of the Rutgers connection with Bill Belichick. But now this recent situation with Adrian Peterson, the child abuse allegations.
I don't think they're allegations.
Right. No, I mean they're straight up charges. So, I mean, I saw. Did you guys read the reports? He definitely went too far. I think there is something to be said about the culture of. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm okay with beating your kid. I wouldn't be, but he definitely went too far. Reading the report, it's really disturbing. He put leaves in the kid's mouth. He stripped him down. He hit him in genitals, all over the buttocks. The branch was wrapping around his thighs, leaving bruises. And this wasn't the only incident. When the police investigated and asked the kid, he said that Daddy Peterson would punch me in the face if he says anything. Now that's really alarming. So I mean, about 10 minutes ago, we just got breaking news that the Vikings released a statement. Sorry, Harry, you want to tell us something about that?
Yeah, just going off on that. I mean, just coming over the newswire, people breaking it on Twitter right now, that basically 2 a.m., 1 a.m., whatever you want to call it, but sources are indicating that Minnesota has been having meetings all day, and this is the end of them. But that they had originally said that Adrian Peterson was going to play and going to practice, but he just got added to the commissioner's exempt list, which the last player added to this list was Michael Vick with his dogfighting scandal. And Adrian Peterson is now on this list. He is not allowed to come to any football activity, practice, meetings, training, games, whatever. And he will be on there until this legal investigation is done. And I think there's more than enough proof out there. He's facing possibly up to 2 years in jail. And he's getting up there in age for running back as well. I mean, this is what, his 8th year? He's 28 or something like that. I think this
It doesn't look.
it really tarnishes his legacy too, and it does not look good at all.
It does. He's an excellent football player, but unfortunately, this might be what we remember him by.
I was going to ask the question actually. Does this tarnish his legacy enough that he does not make it into the Hall of Fame right now? But you know what? I think that's a question that is football related, and obviously there's more important issues here than football. Child abuse is a really serious thing, so I don't even want to think about his Hall of Fame legacy at the moment.
Right. I mean, I think there's something to be said about the Hall of Fame. Maybe leaving that kind of personal stuff out and focusing on the football careers. When you look at Lawrence Taylor, when you look at Ray Lewis, who's sure to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, that's for another day. He definitely has a claim to be in there for sure. But undoubtedly this is what we're going to remember him by. It's been a tough few weeks for Roger Goodell. Two things I want to mention.
Today, actually, it's not just sponsors. Politicians are also taking a shot at the NFL right now.
The governor of Minnesota, yeah.
Yeah, governor of Minnesota as well. There's a senator right now. All summer we had heard about this, the issue with the football team in Washington and their nickname, you can call it, and whether it's appropriate or it's racist or whatnot. And Goodell backed the nickname and Dan Snyder as was. And today it seems like there's a senator that's ready to push a bill through Congress that if that nickname is not changed, the NFL will lose its tax-exempt status.
Wow, that's major news. If that happens, that just adds on to the compilation of bad news for Roger Goodell and the NFL. I want to say two things. One, the public backlash over the Ray Rice video. We saw the initial video come out a few months ago. Was it a few months ago? But it was a month ago or so. And of him dragging his then fiance out of the elevator. And it apparently didn't cause that much of an outrage. It did, but it wasn't as big as the second video, which was released about a week ago, where everyone completely lost their minds, understandably so, as you saw an explosive video of him striking his then fiancee, Janae Rice, or I should say Janae Palmer at the time. So I'm just wondering, people, what did you think happened in there? That's one thing, and the second thing. Well, I lost my train of thought. Or some.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, that's a good question that you have there. It's
what do people think they saw?
No, see, the thing is that it's kind of hard to ask this question to the public. It's more of a question to the NFL. Mm-hmm. The public, understandably so, is very upset about the only 2-game suspension that Ray Rice received. and they'd been crying for a bigger punishment, maybe even a big fine or a 6 to 8 game punishment, suspension. So people knew what was in the video. The question that I would redirect the question to Roger Goodell and the NFL, like, what else did you guys expect the video to show? And by extension, not just the NFL and Goodell, but the Ravens as well. They are still standing by him, saying that he told us exactly what happened. He struck her. So then why release him after the video came out?
Exactly. Why not do it after the first video when you sat down and talked to him and he told you exactly what happened? I don't think there was any. I didn't think he was trying to misdirect you or anything. I think they said that he told them exactly what happened and
And the
that
video showed exactly what he had told them. So yeah, I agree. So.
exactly. I think it really came down to just the public backlash that was happening. When people saw how explosive the video was, they had no choice but to alter their strategy and drop him outright. And they tried to get away with it, basically. They tried to get away with it. That's the bad part about all this. And when you look back at the statements that Roger Goodell and Steve Bisciotti and the Ravens owner and Ozzie Newsome made during the past 2 weeks, they don't add up. The NFL says that they didn't do enough, and the Ravens said that. Oh no, I'm sorry. The NFL said that they did all they could during their investigation. The Ravens said they didn't do enough. That doesn't add up. There's just so many discrepancies between the two parties, and it looks terrible for the NFL. But I just want to add, I finally remember what I was going to say. The second part. I don't think Roger Goodell is going to lose his job because he makes a lot of money for the owners, and that's what really what it comes down to. The owners have to pull together and kick him out, and I just don't see that happening. After all of this, I don't see him losing his job. I know Harry feels really strongly about Goodell. We want to tell us about what you think of him. Do you think he should lose his job?
I think he needs to go. This guy gets paid $44 million a year, and this guy runs the league in such a way. You remember Bountygate with the Saints, which Sean Payton had no idea was going on, allegedly. But he got suspended a year. He got fined and everything. Because what happens when you are the top dog, what happens during your time there is on you. And this is Roger Goodell's time. Someone in the league office saw the video. That's what the AP report was. That's what TMZ reported, that they got the video. Ray Rice told them exactly what happened. And 4 anonymous NFL sources, people in that NFL front office, did say that Ray Rice told them exactly what happened. So what did Roger Goodell do in this situation? Did he see the video? Did he not see the video? Did he cover it up? We won't really know that unless, it goes under oath. And that's something that we may very well see soon with this Ray Rice appeal going on. And the NFLPA asking for an independent investigator and an independent guy to oversee the appeal. If Roger Goodell and the NFL go under oath, I don't see any way that they get out of it. They're screwed in that situation. So they have to settle with Ray Rice there, and settling with Ray Rice will look even worse on Roger Goodell. I do not see a way that Roger Goodell saves his job. Yes, he has made a lot of money for the owners, but I saw a chart that while NFL prices, revenues, and team worth have gone up, it is at a lesser percentage than other sports around the league, around the nation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so my only thing to add to that is that I personally believe that it depends on how he handles the next couple of issues. It's not just going to be the Ray Rice issue that makes or breaks his job. He, in my opinion, should still pay out like a 7-figure fine, which is absurd, but it's a lot of money. But if he's, with the amount of money that he's making, it's only justified that it makes a big dent in his pocket for not managing the league very effectively, right? And while like Harry said, these teams have grown in value considerably. Like the Bills were just sold for $1.4 billion, and this is for a team that doesn't have its own stadium. That's absurd. That's a lot of money. So if you have major sponsors that are starting to, have issues with the way it's being run, this could really affect the NFL's revenue. And then, like Harry was saying, like the senator that is considering adding taxes and taking away the non-exempt status, that would make it even harder for the teams because now revenues are cut by 30, 40%, which is considerable.
I just want to shout out. I know we got to move on to other topics because we could talk about this off-field issues all the time, but there is stuff to cover on the field as well.
Absolutely.
But I just want to say this for whoever's listening out there, and I doubt you are, Roger Goodell. It's a public challenge. You want to save your job? You made $44 million last year. Put a big chunk of that out to charity that helps out the victims of these senseless crimes. You're not hurting for money. Put the money where your mouth is at. You put out the apology letter. That's not enough.
That's an excellent way to conclude this segment of domestic violence. But let's move on to actual football. There have been 2 weeks of action that we need to go over. As a segue from the AP situation, the all-day situation. Pick up. And we're gonna talk about fantasy football as well when we do NFL pods. If anyone's listening to this, if you're gonna listen to this in the morning, go pick up Matt Asiata, and if you're more forward-thinking, go pick up Jerick McKinnon. All right, so let's move on, guys. Who have you liked so far in the 2 weeks of action? Who has really impressed you? Simran?
Let's start out in the AFC, looking to the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans notoriously have been a very good defensive team, but they've been hit by some major injuries the last couple of years. But the Texans defense, especially with J.J. Watt, Brian Cushing, Jonathan Joseph, and a couple of the other guys on that squad, are pretty well known around the league. And it's the other issue that they've had, other than injuries, is questions at the quarterback position, and especially after Matt Schaub started doing, pretty badly last year, it kind of went downhill. Even the year before, Matt Schaub was decent, but he wasn't as great as he'd been the couple of years before that. But you look at Ryan Fitzpatrick, a veteran journeyman. He's actually doing really well. He hasn't thrown an interception yet. It could be lucky that there's been a couple of balls he's sort of forced into coverage that haven't been picked off. They've been dropped. However, they've done well, and so I'm liking the way the Houston Texans are. They're playing right now, and their division is not doing too well. The most surprising thing in that division is the Colts at 0-2. Nobody expected that. Like, you would have expected the Colts to be in second place, and so that's one team that I have definitely that's on the up right now. Another team to look at is the Denver Broncos. They're a favorite. They were in the Super Bowl last year. They'll probably get there again because they revamped their defense. Their defense has been playing lights out. And looking out up top to AFC East. The Patriots are playing pretty bad. There's no way around it. They did really well this last week, but they're fourth in the division. The Buffalo Bills are number one. Nobody expected that at all. Generally, it's the other way around. You have the Pats, the Dolphins, or the Jets in second, and then the Bills in fourth. So that's been like a big surprise and a shock to a lot of people.
Yeah, I think the Texans have to be really happy with where they're at. The Colts, obviously, I think they had two. I think some people could have foreseen them starting 0-2. They've had two tough matchups to start the year, but I definitely thought that they would be 1-1 throughout these. They definitely had that game on Monday night against the Eagles, but Andrew Luck threw it away, for lack of a better word.
No, I would like to dispute that fact. If you go back and watch that place where he threw that interception, you can clearly see a Eagles linebacker or defensive back pulling down T.Y. Hilton.
No,
yeah,
that's not a PI for me.
Hold there. I mean, I
There was
understand
a hold.
No, no, it was
Luck
within
I
within
understand what you're
5 yards.
saying, that
Within
Luck
No,
did
it
have
wasn't
a
within
bad
5
game.
yards.
Doesn't matter if it was within 5 yards or not. The ball was in the air. You can't have contact
Yeah,
after
and
the
the
ball
guy
is in
pulled
the
him
air.
down by his shoulder
So
pad,
that would not have been
or like
holding.
by his
That would have
arm.
been pass interference because the ball was in the air.
Yeah, so that wasn't Luck. And more props to Luck for not complaining about it, and to Pagano as well, for the coach, for not complaining about it. But that was a terrible call. Terrible. That essentially gave the game to the Eagles.
Yeah.
I have no problem with them not calling that.
Yo, that should have been called. Everyone knows it. Bad call, but it is what it is. The Colts are 0-2. You said the Texans, surprising team at 2-0. Yes, there's a couple of problems with that. They played the Redskins, and they played
The Raiders.
a commitment to 4-12 every year now.
Oh,
Very funny.
Let's just look at the Texans real quick. I think Arian Foster.
What do we call the Niners? Commitment to Ray McDonald?
Yeah, seriously.
So it's still under
The Sa-
investigation.
The Santa Clara Miners, dude.
Continue forward. The Texans situation. I think Arian Foster is on pace for 480 touches this year. That is an absurd number, and
He's not going to get there.
without Ben Tate behind him, I expect him to get injured. And he is injury prone, and that is way too many touches for Arian Foster.
They're toning it down. The coach has come out and said that we're going to decrease his touches with the intent of keeping him fresh for the playoffs or the last bit.
We'll see how that goes. They
bit.
started 2-0 last year too, and then they went on a 14-game losing streak.
Yeah, but you're forgetting Brian Cushing tore his ACL two games in. That was a big factor.
They had a couple big injuries. They look
Yeah.
good on defense despite losing Jadeveon Clowney in the first week. I want to shout out to one of my favorite wins in week 1 was the Atlanta Falcons winning a very important divisional matchup against New Orleans Saints. And that's also a surprising team that's 0-2 right now is the Saints. No one expected them to lose on the road at Cleveland, but you got to give props to Cleveland. Cleveland has played pretty well over the past 2 games, considering they were behind by a lot against the Steelers, came back and lost. Very close game in week 1, and they gave Drew Brees a really tough fight, and they won that game. Again, a really close game, came down to a field goal, and they won. So props to the Browns, but the Falcons in week 1, that's going to go a long way this season towards maybe them going into the playoffs. I look for them to make this is kind of a revenge year for them because last year went terribly. They had so many injury issues.
Yep.
Yeah, injuries for sure. Julio Jones, problems on defense. I still think those problems on defense are prevalent. Everyone gets to run all over them. But
here's an interesting statistic for the Falcons.
Mhm.
Their offense is currently rated number 1 in the NFL, and their defense is currently rated number 32. Talk about total polar opposites.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how good the Falcons have really been. The first game they won like 45-42 or something like that.
It wasn't that much, but yeah.
Yeah.
Some high number.
Yep.
They won by 3 in overtime at home. So neutral field
against the Saints. Against the Saints.
Neutral field, I think the Saints take that game. Definitely in the Louisiana Superdome, the Saints take that game. So I don't know how much this really helps the Falcons.
Wait, is the neutral field outdoors? Because I don't know about Drew Brees outdoors, bro.
Both the fields are in dome, so that really doesn't matter.
No,
but I don't know if this
hold on.
really helps the Falcons. They just held serve. That's all it is.
No, dude, you're totally misconstruing this, man. Doesn't matter if they could have, would have, should have. None of that stuff matters. The fact is that they won against the Saints, a team that people are picking to beat the Seahawks and to go into the Super Bowl over the Seahawks.
Well, I'm not saying could have, should have, would have.
That's a very big expectation, bro.
No, I mean you might say it's holding serve, but
they won at home.
It's winning at home, which is huge. If they had lost that game, I don't foresee them winning. They would have had to beat the Saints in New Orleans.
Which I don't think that happens.
Exactly.
Here's my team. We saw what they did in week 1. In week 2, the Cincinnati Bengals, without Mike Zimmer,
looking really good,
shut Matt Ryan down.
Yep.
Sometime in the fourth quarter, he had 100 yards of passing. after throwing like 440 and setting a franchise record in Week 1. The Cincinnati Bengals are looking really, really good. My NFC team, the Carolina Panthers. Everyone said no O-line, no pass catchers. Greg Olsen, Cam Newton injured. Their defense, which carried them last year, is allowing an average of 10.5 points per game right now. I don't care who you have on your offense. When your defense is only giving up 10 points a game, you have a pretty good chance of winning.
Both teams I really like. They have elite defenses. Cincinnati might have the best defense in the league. Carolina definitely has an elite defense. Definitely, I will say this about Cincinnati. They're probably I have them winning the division. I have Pittsburgh and Baltimore battling out for a wild card spot. But I have Cincinnati winning that division, and I don't have them progressing in the playoffs any further than they usually do, which is one game. So
it's unfortunate, but Andy Dalton
holds them back.
Whoa, hold up. I think
he has got to show that he can win in the playoffs. Otherwise, we have another Peyton Manning on our hands. Like if you look at his regular season numbers.
Whoa!
You look at his regular season. You look at his regular season numbers,
Shots fired.
He's blowing it up. Like his numbers are absolutely insane. He's throwing for 5,000 yards and all this other stuff, right? He throws crazy amounts of touchdowns in the regular season. But you get to the playoffs, and it's like, he has like, one of those old school, 17th century, what are those night helmets? You can't see anything out of them. It's like he's playing with one of those. Totally inaccurate passes. There's no vision down the field. He's like he's waiting for people to get open. He's not throwing them open. So
I think the Bengals are prepared for that this year, though. If you really look at it, Andy Dalton is their regular season quarterback, and come playoff time, Mohamed Sanu, man, he is gonna come into that starting lineup. You saw that pass this week. This guy is now 3'3" in his career, with the smallest distance being 25 yards.
Beautiful.
Talk about shots fired, dude.
I think the average reception for him has gone for 49 yards. That pass was an absolute dime. Triple coverage.
Two people, but right threading the sideline.
Right. He dropped it right in the bucket. Oh, it was a beautiful pass.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean they could just use him in the playoffs. Honestly, it's better than Andy Dalton. So guys, what do you guys think about?
Let's do picks in each division.
Let's just cut me off. Gosh.
It's all right, dude. Shit happens. Let's do it. AFC East. Who do you guys think is gonna go?
I still have the Patriots winning the division.
I do as well, and I think of the Dolphins as a dark horse in that division.
Yeah.
Happy?
I got Pats winning it, and I think Dolphins definitely with my boy Bill Lazor as their OC. I think that offense is going to take off.
Hey, fantasy advice to you guys out there: do not sell Mike Wallace. He's going to have a great year.
Yeah, fantasy advice for like the next 15 years. The number one wide receiver on Bill Lazor's team. That's a solid draft pick. So let's take it to the AFC North. I got Bengals winning the division. I think the rest of the division.
Wait, hold up. No love for the Bills. I mean, I just want to say they're 2-0, but I still expect them to finish last. Do you guys agree with that?
I don't know about last. I think they could pull out a third place finish.
Maybe even second.
They have won 3 straight against the Dolphins, and maybe they'll be revitalized with this new sale. But
I think that best case scenario, second place.
Okay. All right. I still got Dolphins fighting for a wild card spot. I think the Jets are better than people think. I know they've been a laughing stock for the past couple seasons, but they really gave Green Bay all they could handle. They almost won that game. Green Bay had to come back.
Timeout.
Well, what's up?
No, I thought only you could call the timeout, not some other person in the podcast.
Oh, Marty Morningweg with one of the biggest mistakes in week 2 or the season, really. Oh my,
Yeah, that was pretty terrible.
that was terrible. I mean,
Rex Ryan must be really, really pissed.
for you guys that don't know, I'm a Packer fan. Harry's a Niner fan. Simran's a Raider fan. Let's all
Commitment to 4-12.
commitment to Ray
It's
McDonald.
yeah, it's
Um,
better than commitment to what's it called, a domestic abuser.
oh yeah, let's strike pregnant women happy or
Yeah.
Harry.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
All
Innocent,
right,
all
moving
right.
along.
You
AFC
guys are gonna
North.
make me say this. Innocent until proven guilty. Investigation ongoing. But I don't want any.
Well,
I wouldn't
dude,
give any of these guys second chances. If it comes out that he did it, I don't care if he's on the Niners. If I don't care if he's on the Niners. I don't care if it's AP. I don't care if it's Ray Rice. No second chances for this stuff.
you're a gold standard morally, dude.
AFC North.
I got the
Cincinnati
Bengals.
Bengals.
Yep.
Everybody has the
Bengals.
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 I have the Ravens. Actually, I don't know. The Steelers look pretty good this year as well. So yeah, like Shaheen had pointed out before previously, the Ravens and the Steelers would definitely fight it out for the wild card spot. But Bengals have it.
Yeah, let's cover division winners first, and then we'll look at who's left for the wild card.
For sure.
AFC West. I think we all have the Broncos.
Yeah, and then Chargers, dark horse.
Chargers dark horse. Definitely.
And,
Chargers look really good. Oh, by the way, shout out to the Chargers. That is the most impressive victory of week 2, possibly in the past 2 weeks when you look at everything. Beating the Super Bowl champions with 3 Antonio Gates touchdowns. Throwback. Did you
Yeah.
the third touchdown?
Those touchdowns. Watch the tape. All on the same play. 2 to the right. The third one flipped over to the left side. The Chargers with Mike McCoy found
Beautiful.
a weakness in
They had-
Seattle's defense, and they
What
exploited it.
was it, Harry? What was it? It was Danny Woodhead on a curl, and then Antonio
Danny
Gates
Woodhead
on a
with
corner
a
route.
out of the backfield curl, 4 or 5 yard curl. The linebacker or the cornerback covering him comes up. The safety jumps the underneath route, leaves Antonio Gates one-on-one, either with Cam Chancellor or linebacker. Cam Chancellor's a big guy, but Antonio Gates was a former basketball player, man. He's coming down with that.
He's got vines for hands, man. The third touchdown was my favorite. Rivers climbs the pocket, throws on the run.
Throws his
Antonio
ugly
Gates,
duck that Rivers throws as well.
absolutely, but Antonio Gates snags it with one hand. Throwback, beautiful.
That was great.
By the way, by the way,
The thing is, in regards to Harry's comment about them finding a weakness in the Seattle defense, that weakness won't be a weakness for too long. I can say that right now. Pete Carroll is going to be correcting it along with who's the defensive coordinator?
I don't know. They've lost like all 3 of them over the past 3 years.
that's true.
Yeah,
I will say this though. Last year's Super Bowl, I think Mike McCoy is such a good offensive mind. Had he been in Denver, that could have been a completely different Super Bowl right there.
True, absolutely.
All right. AFC South, Texans with actually I don't know, Texans and the Colts. That could be interesting. But for now, looking at standings, Texans, Colts are going to be fighting for the one of the last wild card spots, along with the Chargers, the Ravens, Steelers, and the Dolphins, and
Yeah, I'll just
potentially the Bills.
I'll just give my quick breakdown because we're throwing a lot of teams in there. My 6 teams: Texans, Broncos, Bengals, Patriots. I got the Chargers and I got the Colts. AFC.
Wait, hold up. You got the Texans winning the division?
They're 2-0, and I mean the Colts might be able to sneak in, but 2-0, 0-2 is a big thing right now.
I'm not going to overreact to 2 games. I'm going to go with the Colts winning the division still. The Texans could be a wild card team, but I don't think they'll be that either. I believe Ryan Fitzpatrick is still a journeyman quarterback. He's not going to lead them to the playoffs. What were you guys' wild card teams? We got the Ravens, the Steelers. I'm going to throw the Jets and the Dolphins in there. Seriously.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's go with I don't know. I don't like anyone from the AFC South. I think it's a really weak division. And Chargers for sure. I think the Chargers are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, my picks: Broncos win AFC West, Chargers take a wild card spot, AFC South Colts win, Texans fight for a wild card as well, and then AFC North Bengals, and then AFC East Patriots. Those are my 6 picks.
By the way, I was
with the Texans maybe fighting out with the Ravens, and then potentially the Dolphins.
NFC South, I got the Panthers winning that. NFC North, I think I'll stick with Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers.
yeah.
He's carrying my fantasy team right there, never doubt. NFC East, I think you got to go with the Eagles. I don't think any other team really competes there.
Nope, I agree there.
They'll compete, but they'll
I mean,
fail
they'll compete, but I think the Eagles will win.
Yeah, Eagles are doing way too well right now. The Redskins have nothing. The Cowboys have nothing.
Well, I wouldn't say the Cowboys have nothing. I think the Cowboys have the best offensive line and possibly, if DeMarco Murray can stay healthy, the best running game in the NFL.
I agree with that.
All right.
Jerry Jones may be crazy, but those three first-round picks on the offensive line, that's pretty dominant. And we get to the NFC West. Seahawks, Niners, both teams, I think, make it to the playoffs. Pick them. It's going to come down to that 3-week period where they play each other twice. Thankfully for the Niners, we get like a bye week when we play Oakland in the middle.
Oh.
I'm not going to say anything because I think the Raiders will be a bit better by the time the December 7th or whatever week that is, week 12 or 13 rolls around. So I wouldn't count them out that easily. They're not going to roll over, especially not to the Niners.
That's right. It's bury a matchup. They're going to bring their A game.
Yep. And by that time, most of those issues will be ironed out. They're having communication issues, and like a lot of the players on the defense are quite young. Like if you look at that J.J. Watt touchdown, that was a C.O. Moore coverage assignment that he blew, and it was because he didn't know that J.J. Watt was actually an eligible receiver. And
Right.
So things like that will come with time, and there are more than enough veterans on that defense now to teach those young guys. And so I wouldn't count them out or write it off as a very, very easy win. It definitely won't be. The Niners-Raiders games, every time they've happened, they've always been absolutely crazy. So,
By the way, fantasy advice, do not try to pick up J.J. Watt as a tight end. I don't see him that much.
yeah. Okay, my picks, I have the Seahawks in the West. In the South, I have the Saints. I really think that looking at the Panthers, yes, they're 2-0 right now, but they have issues on their O-line and on their wide receiver, in their wide receiver core. So I think that the Saints will turn it around. NFC North, I also will say Packers, with the Lions as a potential dark horse there, and the NFC East, Eagles all the way. And so in the following order: Seahawks 1, Eagles 2.
Ooh.
Yeah, the Eagles are playing lights out right now. There's no way that I would pick against them, especially with Chip Kelly running that team. 3, I would say Packers. 4, Saints, just based off of the record right now. And then 5 and 6, a combination of Cardinals, Niners.
No love to Carolina.
No, I was just getting there, man. Cardinals, Niners, Panthers, Falcons, Lions. Those are the 5 teams I think that will fight it out for the last 2 spots.
No love for the Bears either.
Bears, I need to see more off the defense.
Bears defense actually this week did. They made a lot of second half adjustments and they looked good.
Yeah, but
Kyle Fuller, Peanut Tillman may be out, but Kyle Fuller, I expect this guy to be a playmaker out in the secondary.
I know, I agree, but all I'm saying is from my perspective, I need to see more out of the Bears defense over the next 3 or 4 weeks to actually bring them into the contention.
You're not going to see much. You're not going to see much. They're going to be bad.
And just to go out, the last team, this kind of sucks for them because it's the NFC and it's stacked as is. But the Cowboys, I can see them going 9-7 this year and not being an 8-8 team.
Oh wow, bold prediction.
Bold prediction.
All right, Shaheen, what about you?
Well, let's start with the North. I got Green Bay, but I think it's going to be close this year. I think Chicago is an elite offensive team. They could give us some trouble. They could fight for the division. It's really close right now. I mean, we're all 1-1, so can't really say anything. But Detroit is going to be the matchup next week against Green Bay, and then the Chicago after that. So huge divisional matchups very early on in the next couple weeks. I still think Green Bay is going to win the division, but defense is going to be an issue for these NFC North teams. They all have great offenses. They could rack up the points, but when it comes down to it in the playoffs, defense really, really matters. And they don't have enough to go over the top and go to Super Bowl. But they're definitely contenders, especially Green Bay. I still think Green Bay is a Super Bowl contender despite their atrocious defense.
Let me throw in a quick note
how's
there.
the run defense looking?
Let me throw in a quick note.
Terrible.
The Lions may surprise from a defensive standpoint. Their front seven is actually pretty strong. They have issues in the secondary, but with Sue and a couple of other guys up in the front, they've been doing pretty well against the run. So I wouldn't count them out from a defensive standpoint.
Here's my problem with the Lions. This past week they played Carolina. Carolina does not really have a secondary. I think all the guys back there, their average age is like 38. I think.
What?
No, it's not that old, but they got some other guys in that secondary. They lost.
No, the issue is that the Panthers have a really good front seven, and they were constantly harassing.
Without Greg Hardy.
But Greg Hardy is not the whole team. You're forgetting Luke Kuechly and a couple of the other guys.
No, for sure. But the Lions just could not finish.
They were definitely pressuring Stafford a lot more than he was comfortable with. And he's a mobile quarterback. You know, he's kind of like Aaron Rodgers. He can move around in the pocket. But
Whoa.
I said kind of like, not exactly like.
Whoa.
And so I mean, I would say that it's not really a factor of the Lions, more a factor of the Panthers just playing very stifling defense. But keep going, Shaheen. That's only one division.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, NFC West, I'm going to go with Seattle. And I'm going to go with the Niners and Cardinals battling out for a wild card spot. And I would not be surprised to see
the Niners miss.
Well, no, I wouldn't be surprised to see them miss the playoffs, but I wouldn't be surprised to see three teams from the NFC West in the playoffs: the Cardinals, Niners as wild card spots, and the Seahawks as the divisional winner. I agree with Harry. I think it comes down to that 3-week window late in the year when they play each other twice. That could decide the division. But I think a lot going up against the Niners right now. Colin Kaepernick played terribly. So I think they have
major concerns in the secondary.
Major concerns in the secondary. I think they downgraded in the secondary overall. I always like their drafts, but especially with Trent Baalke. But I think that we're going to have to see a little more from Jimmy Ward, and I'm not sure that that they're going to be able to. I mean, let's just look out for the Cardinals. They look really good over 2 weeks. The Chargers really should have had that game on Monday night, week 1. But again, it's the Chargers on Monday night. And advice to anyone betting, sports bettors out there, always bet against the Chargers on Monday night.
Real quick, I want to jump in with the Cardinals. They have a serious injury risk. They got Drew Stanton possibly moving forward. This Carson Palmer situation, it's a nerve issue, and you never know with nerve issues. And I think Carson Palmer came out today and mentioned that he's actually having trouble gripping the football because of the nerve issues. And as a quarterback, that's a big problem.
Right. Well, I might have to change my pick. Well, assuming that Carson Palmer is healthy and throwing the ball around, I think they could fight for. They could even fight for a divisional spot. People forget the last team to beat Seattle in the past couple years was Arizona in Seattle. So I mean I think they're a team to look out for. They're still a pretty stout defense despite losing Darrell Washington, Carlos Dansby to the Browns,
and Darrell Dockett
and Darnell Dockett.
Darnell, yeah, sorry.
Right. I mean, those are key cogs in their defense, and they're still performing very admirably, and they could be very solid moving forward. The NFC.
On top of that, wait, quick question. Quick statement. On top of that, the Honey Badger is back.
That's right. I love that guy.
So I want to jump in here. Is Darrell Washington out, or is he going to get reinstated under this new drug policy? It's Tuesday night. It was agreed to today, and players that were going to be reinstated were actually notified. So look towards this breaking the news Wednesday morning.
Got it. Keep going. South and East.
That is interesting. The NFC East is a crapshoot every year, but I'm going to go with the Eagles. That's pretty safe. I think the Cowboys just are terrible on defense. They haven't shown anything to me. I like Harry's point earlier. They might have one of the best O-lines in all of football. Their running game looks on point right now. Tony Romo doesn't have to force the issue too much. That's really where you want the Cowboys to be. I think Jerry Jones made some good decisions with their O-line. He wants to give it in DeMarco Murray's hands, and if he's healthy, he could take them to the playoffs. Because think about it. If you make them a ball control offense, give it to DeMarco Murray, have him just run down the clock, and take the ball out of Tony Romo's hands in clutch situations, they could be good. The problem with them is their defense is so bad. I see them being in too many shootouts this year. They might not make the playoffs. The Giants are bad. The Redskins just lost RG3. Kirk Cousins, when you look at his stats, when they regress to the mean, when you give him a big sample size, everyone's talking about how he had a great week against the Jags. It's the Jags, and Kirk Cousins tends to regress to the mean. So we'll see about that. What was the last division?
NFC South.
NFC South. I'm going to go with the Panthers. My initial pick, and I'm kind of cheating here, but we're 2 weeks into it. We were supposed to do this before the season started. It was going to be the Saints. I had the Saints going to Super Bowl, but I'm cheating right now. I'm going to go with the Panthers. They looked really good. All the problems, the perceived problems that from preseason, the lack of weapons on the outside, the O-line. The O-line still looks to be a bit of an issue, but Cam Newton is mobile enough, athletic enough to negate that to an extent. But I think the receivers are just as good as, if not better than they were last year. Jason Avant is not a sexy name. Some of the guys they picked up. Kelvin Benjamin, it looks inconsistent to this point, but you have to think he's a rookie. He can only get better. And he has a really good rapport with Cam Newton. So
on top of that, I think Benjamin, the rapport may be there, but he needs more work with Newton. I watched a little bit of this past game, red zone situations. I think Kelvin Benjamin's 6'5". He was lined up in the slot, the inside receiver. As a 6'5" guy, put him outside, let him run the fade, and he'll go up and get it. My major issue with Kelvin Benjamin, the issue that everyone had coming out of Florida State, he had 8 targets, he had 2 receptions, dropped a number of easy catches.
Mental issues.
Yep, so he gets that focus down, and he'll be fine in the league.
I think so too. He's just such a big-bodied receiver, a big target for Cam Newton, who I don't particularly think has the best ball placement of when you look at other quarterbacks. I think Cam Newton will let a lot of balls sail on him. He won't really have great touch on a lot of balls. It's good to have a guy that you could kind of just throw it up to, and he could come down. He has a large catch radius. That was a good pick by Carolina. If he could just iron out the mental issues, the drops, the concentration, the lapses in concentration, I think Kelvin Benjamin is going to be really solid. So I think they're going to win the division. The Saints, I may be overreacting to them being 0-2. I still have them making the playoffs. But again, don't be surprised if you see 3 NFC West teams. I think the teams in the mix, you guys are not giving Chicago any love. I have them ahead of the Detroit Lions. I don't trust the Lions, but they have a new coach, Jim Caldwell. I don't know if that's enough to make me trust them, but I really like Chicago this year. I think with another year with Mark Trestman, Jay Cutler could be an even better quarterback. He played really well against the Niners. I think he could be a sleeper fantasy quarterback. For those guys who got him on your fantasy teams, Jay Cutler, if he has a plus matchup, put him out there. He's going to put up big numbers this year.
Yeah, I'm high on the Bears. They already had a good receiving core last year with Bennett, Jeffrey, Marshall, and Forte out of the backfield. And they added Santonio Holmes as their wide receiver 3 right now, so that's pretty solid. I like what the Bears have done. They're going to put up a lot of points, no doubt.
I don't like their defense. It's kind of like the same with the Cowboys that they have but I think they have a better offense than the Cowboys. I think that offense will end up being top 5. I just want to point out about the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think they've been playing lights out. In fact, Nick Foles, and especially both quarterbacks, this last game we just saw on Monday night, week 2, both quarterbacks were kind of pissing me off with their ball placement. I saw Andrew Luck missing a few throws throughout the game, totally taking his receivers out of bubble screens, not giving his receivers time to adjust and turn upfield. Nick Foles was really off too. He was throwing behind Zach Ertz, behind Jeremy Maclin. He missed that one bomb that Harry, you and I were talking about. So Nick Foles has to be more consistent if they want to win this division and go further into playoffs. LaShawn McCoy, Darren Sproles was out of his mind in that game. One of the best rushing performances. That 19-yard run was probably one of the best runs of the year. He was just pinballing past people. Great game, in truth, and I just want to see more consistency from Nick Foles. He looked too mediocre in that game, and he needs to be better.
My major problem with the Eagles is their lack of depth. I think if they lose a receiver, they don't really have the people back there. We already saw, we're seeing a lot of teams have problems on the O-line already, and the Eagles do have some as well.
Dude, Josh Huff, baby.
Yeah.
Josh Huff, Jordan Matthews in the slot. They have a pretty good receiving core.
They'll be okay if one of their running backs, something happens because they'll just pick up LaMichael James, Chip Kelly's boy.
Ooh. Hey, we could kind of expect Jeremy Maclin to get injured, though, right?
Yeah, I expect a pulled hammy in week 4.
Yeah, okay. I'll go along with that. Honestly, I mean, the guy is... Anyways, there's a reason why I don't draft him. Just can't trust him.
I guess this has kind of gone over to fantasy real quick. So my pointer, pick up Josh Gordon if you haven't already done so. It's probably a little late. Just to throw it out there, I drafted him in the 16th round.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, if Josh Gordon is somehow still in any of your leagues, guys, go hurry and pick him up. If you guys make the playoffs, he'll come back week 12. You have an elite wideout, and you could put him in. You could just plug and play, and he could put your team over the top and make it a championship team. Stash him on your bench. It's going to be hard to keep him on your bench for those people out there with short benches. Say you have 5 bench slots, it's going to be hard to keep him on your bench. But if you have really good management, if you could pull it off, he's really going to come through for you. Potentially, if he doesn't, get in trouble again, which is possible.
And worst case scenario, just drop a kicker and keep Gordon.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, guys. Well, I think we ran upwards of an hour. Thanks a lot for listening. We're going to do this again next week. We're going to go over week 3. Thanks for listening, guys. We're back. We're really happy to be back. Bye.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah. See you.